D&D adventures still suck! Until now? Doth mine eyes deceive me? Did D&D make an adventure that's actually useful and doesn't require hours of reading and rewriting blocks of text? Hello? No. Well, Dungeons & Dragons haven't yet, but Deck and Dice Games did. With this! And today, we're gonna take a look at Deck and Dice Games' upcoming Quarter Shots adventure as an example of what a practical and useful pre-written adventure looks like for dungeon masters of any skill level. I'll also show you how to take Quarter Shots' design concepts and apply them to your own game prep and note-taking. That's right, Marcus. I'm going to steal everything. And no, this is not a sponsored video. Now, Marcus Pascal did send me an early copy of Roads and Ruins with no strings attached, but I was so enamored with the design of this product and how well it relates to the topics I've been covering on my channel. And after everything that's happened last year with Dungeons & Dragons and the parent company that has a monopoly on the game Monopoly, I think now's the best time to start supporting smaller creators who have both a passion for our hobby and are making great products. But first, the problem. When it comes to the mainstream published adventures, there can be some really interesting and fun ideas within their 200 plus 1D100 pages, but as a product that markets itself as the answer to save you all this time and effort it takes to come up with an adventure or a world on your own, in reality, they're more of a bare-bones concept that require a ton of work to expand on their half-baked ideas and turn their paragraphs of text into something you can actually easily glance at in the middle of your game. Look, it's just us girls here, so let's just admit it all together. The majority of our adventure collection has never seen the soda-stained surface of our game table. Rather, we buy these books, we read them, and then we sit and daydream about how cool it would be to play out these scenarios with our players. And they know this! The warlocks of the waterfront know this!
Hey, bro, are you okay?
They don't care! You bought the book! Your coin has been collected! That's why most of these adventures feel so linear and bloated with lore and verbose descriptions and, hey, deficient, maybe you should... You grognards can't brag about the good old days either! Those early adventure formats suck too! I've read Hamlet. I've seen your reptile god. Look at this block of text in your precious caverns of Thracia. Quick, DM, I'm searching for secret doors. Are there any secret doors in this room? You have 10 seconds to tell me before I get bored and start untangling the headphones to my Walkman. All right. Fortunately, there are game designers who share in my frustrations. And instead of accepting that this is just the way adventures have always been, these pioneers have challenged and I believe have even achieved in making great adventures, both in concept and in execution, made for dungeon masters to run in their games with little to sometimes even no prep. A lot of comments on my D&D Adventure Suck video gave some great suggestions. Chance Dudnack's Blackworm of Brandonsford, the various adventures by Old School Essentials, and anything touched by Ben Milton over at Questing Beast. But I'm gonna add Marcus Pascal to my list after reading through Quarter Shots, and this is why. Now, Quarter Shots is a collection of short adventures that take up about an hour or two of table time. Roads and Ruins features a series of side quests that can come up as you're traveling through, Roads and Ruins. Each Quarter Shot is only 2 pages long and contains the exact information you need to run the adventures effectively. I really like how you can flip through the margins of the pages and get an instant understanding of the themes in each scenario. Maybe I've put my players through so many gotcha moments that they're constantly suspicious. So maybe I'll avoid picking anything labeled trap. Or maybe I'm looking for some more role-playing, so I'll pick a moral quandary that gets my players thinking and making hard choices. Quarter Shots uses these symbols early on that tell DMs how to relay the following information at a glance. They use arrows for instantly apparent information, a magnifying glass for details that need a little bit of investigation before being revealed, kind of like that point and click moment I mentioned in my previous video, and a question mark for optional details that can be used for little pizzazz. These icons are laid out in a bullet point format, and the headings allow you to find specific answers to the player's questions with a quick scan. What's inside this cavern area in a quarter shot adventure? 3 bullet points, 77 words. Compared to a similar cavern in Curse of Strahd, 3 paragraphs, 250 words. Compared to this is brilliant, this is rubbish, this is practical, this is a college textbook. So if you're not already, try writing your own notes with bullet points instead of paragraphs. But there's something else we can learn from Quarter Shot's design that we can apply to our own game material. Quarter Shots is a perfect example of what I like to call Schrödinger scenarios, which is an evergreen situation that can be dropped into your game world whenever the moment calls for it. These are great for sandbox games or for side quests, but for me, a good Schrödinger scenario is more than just a result on a random encounter. We can make adventures just like Quarter Shots by following not only their formatting choices, but also their formula for creating a dynamic adventure that only a tabletop RPG can pull off. I think the first Quarter Shot adventures in Roads to Ruins shows this formula off really well. The party is hired to escort a carriage of valuables to a nearby town. They have several road encounters before being ambushed. They soon discover that the carriage was just a decoy, full of rusty nails. Now, if you were to take these Quarter Shots at face value, they would seem pretty bare bones of something you would see on a random table. A carriage escort, a lone tower, a witch's cottage. But where Marcus spends his creativity and his limited word count is through the setups, the complications, the uncertainties, and the opened ending. Most of the first page of these scenarios is spent on the setup, because when it comes to preparing adventures and scenarios for our players, we want to make content that's gonna be seen at the table rather than missed and thrown away. Prep what's certain instead of what's hypothetical. How the scenario will start is pretty certain, regardless of who the player characters are. Where I think a lot of DMs can waste their energy is by preparing or thinking through a series of if-thens, which are always hypothetical and, therefore, more uncertain. Now, Quarter Shots has some if-thens, but they're limited often to a single sentence and always provide what I like to call the open ending, which we'll get to in a second. But once we've established our scenario and its starting position, the next part is preparing some complications, which are just little details that will give this otherwise vanilla scenario some dynamism. In this example, we have a carriage driver who's faking it and inexperienced. Marcus puts this down as an open-ended complication that we as DMs can take as a creative prompt and run with it. The driver might complicate the situation by accidentally shooting off his car. And now he spooked his horse pulling the carriage. We also have the complication that there's secretly nothing of actual value being escorted in the carriage. These road encounters contain complications too, like an escaped gorilla that the owners want captured alive, or a stuck carriage with a sick person inside. These complications don't have to be extreme to give the scenario more punch, but the more complications you add, the more uncertainties you create. And I've learned to embrace the uncertainties in my adventures, because that's what makes the game entertaining for me as a DM. If I know or plan every outcome or beat of the adventure, I'm not playing D&D. I'm forcing my friends to listen to my OC. But when you let your pre-planned complications clash with both each other and the player characters, what results is a story that neither you nor your players could ever come up with alone. That's the one thing tabletop RPGs can do that no other form of entertainment can pull off. Once the chaos ensues, all you have to do is narrate and referee how the world around the players would naturally react. Yeah, that's not always easy, but you will get better at it with more table time. Now, a more advanced trick you can use for your own scenarios is to incorporate an open ending, in which completing the scenario leaves the players with more questions than answers. In the decoy escort on our Quarter Shots example, the players will eventually discover that they've been escorting a cart full of rusty nails, and the notes end there. Marcus leaves the why up to you. Maybe these nails are magically disguised coins. Maybe the employer, Edril Plowerson, set this whole job up as a con, and the person the PCs will deliver the nails to will think that the player characters are the ones cheating them. And if I see that my players are really invested in the follow-up of what happens after this job, that's what I'm going to focus next week's game prep on. And who knows, this one little side quest can turn into an entire series of adventures. Because a great side quest creates more side quests. And the majority of these adventures in Quarter Shots does just that. I give Roads and Ruins a B, as in going into my binder, which is like the equivalent of S tier. But if you want to learn more about game prep, I go into further detail on this next video. You can pre-order quarter shots in the link below, which Marcus told me will release sometime late first quarter or early second quarter of this year. Once again, not sponsored, just a fan.
But imagine what I would do for a sponsored product.
That's all I got for now. See ya.